It also has 4 Boros Reckoner, but it also has 4 Vault of the Archangels. So Corey's taking a risk. All right?
Feels a little ambitious.
Yeah, it's definitely ambitious. It's definitely, and he also has a swamp. I don't know. You know, this deck could be the next big thing. We're gonna find out right now.
Yeah. So we are on our way here. Round 1 of Star City Games open here in Somerset, New Jersey. We do appreciate you guys joining us early this morning, especially if you're on the West Coast. Congrats to you for waking up. As you do see Reed start off here with the Woodland Cemetery into a Rootbound Crag. Corey here just with a Godless Shrine, so we'll see if he has a turn 2 play, which in his deck he does have Elite Inquisitor and he does have Precinct Captain to start off on turn 2, but just an isolated Chapel and passes the turn back.
Yeah, I do see a couple of Boros Reckoners in his hand.
Okay.
So we'll see if he has another white source to be able to cast it. Normally, Boros Reckoner isn't a card you'll see not in a red-white X deck.
Yeah.
You know, it normally isn't a red-white X deck.
Yeah.
You know, but here he's only has the white to cast it. So kind of tough, but we'll see what happens. So Reed misses a land drop there.
Yeah, just a Farseek.
Yeah, it just looks like just a Farseek, and Corey's playing his Boros Reckoner, so looks pretty good start for him so far. That's what he wants to be doing.
So we'll see if Reed's able to draw his 4th land. You see a Garrett Primal Hunter in his hand. He takes a draw step. Looks like it's another Farseek. So
yeah.
In theory it's a land, but in reality it's not. He's going to have to pay 2 to get his land drop this turn.
Yeah, and I think this is what Corey wants. He wants his opponent to stumble so he can get down a couple of Boros Reckoners. And especially against Reed, Reed doesn't have a card like Supreme Verdict just to get rid of the Boros Reckoners.
Yeah.
You know, Reed's going to have to rely on something like a Dreadbore and Abrupt Decay to destroy the Reckoner without taking any damage.
You take a look at Reed's removal suite here. He does have 1 Liliana Veil that can clean that up, 2 Tragic Slips, an Abrupt Decay, a Dreadbore, 2 Mizium Orders, 2 Putrefy, a card that we actually didn't even get around to talking about just yet, and 3 Bonfire the Dam. Putrefy, a card that is probably just going to take the place of Murder in all of these builds moving forward.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. All right, so it looks like Corey draws a Lingering Soul. So he does have the Vault in his hand, and he looks like he's lacking blue mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think playing 4 Vaults is a little risky, but maybe in his deck he really needs it. I'm not sure what deck would need 4 Vaults.
Yeah, 4 Vault. I mean, Vault of the Archangel is a very, very powerful land. Gives you something to do
is.
with your mana. You know, on the turns that you don't have anything to do. But 4 of those, I have to agree with you. That is a lot of that card to see in the main deck, because you're going to see a Lingering Souls here in Corey's 2nd main phase.
Yeah.
And you can see right now, because he's without blue mana, it might be hampering his development a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. He might have a clone or something in his hand. He might be holding onto a Syncopate just in case, Reed draws a 5th land here and tries to play his Garruk. It would be nice for him to have Syncopate. But I'm also kind of surprised that Corey plays Lingering Souls here over another Boros Reckoner.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that as well. I mean, the plan here might be, I want to do a little bit of ground, a little bit of air next turn, maybe hit my 5th land drop, play Boros Reckoner, flashback to Lingering Souls, go that way. But I was a little bit surprised not to see the 2nd Minotaur Wizard in the battlefield.
Because it also kind of works out better if you were just play Lingering Souls, flash it back next turn when he has 5 mana.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it works out for him, and we'll see what Reed is going to end up doing. Maybe this is a Huntmaster? Okay. Yep. So there's a Huntmaster by Reed.
2 life and a wolf token, gonna push Duke up to 19. Does he have any land yet? Okay, he does. So he drew an Overgrown Tomb for the turn and does just pass the turn back. So, he's developing a little bit slowly here because of that slow start with the Rootbound Crag and the Woodland Cemetery, but it looks like he's starting to regain his footing a little bit at least.
Yeah, all right, so there's the Vault. So this will allow Corey to attack with his entire team. I mean, he could attack anyway with it, but it just will be a nice threat later on in the game.
Yeah.
I also saw Corey draw a Restoration Angel.
Okay.
So this might be interesting here, but I think Corey's line of play would be flashback Lingering Souls, play another Boros Reckoner.
So you're going to see this attack here for 5. Reed immediately is just going to take the damage. No sense in double blocking the Boros Reckoner or anything like that. Not going to get anything done that way. So he's going to push himself down to 14. And we'll see if Corey is going to make that line of play as you brought up, of Boros Reckoner, flashback Lingering Souls.
Yeah, I mean, Reed really has no good blocks here. So, and I'm pretty sure that's what he wants to do here. If he had an extra mana, for example, if Corey had 6 lands, he could flashback Lingering Souls, pass a turn, have Restoration Angel just to stop the Huntmaster from flipping.
Sure. So no play here. So
he did pass the turn.
He's just going to leave Restoration Angel up, and you're going to see Reed going to flip that Huntmaster into Ravager of the Fells. There's going to be a trigger here.
Looks like maybe Corey's unaware of what Huntmaster does, actually. So sometimes players come to an event, haven't played against many different types of decks, maybe just played against their friends. So Corey will take 2 damage and lose 1 of his tokens.
Redraw the card. It is a Thragtusk, not a Bonfire of the Dam, which he does have, again, 3 copies of in his main deck.
Yeah, but the Thragtusk is really good here.
Yeah.
It'll allow him to, gain back the life that he lost and kind of take control of the board. You know, him having a 4/4, 2/2, and if he decides to play Thragtusk at 5/3, it's a lot of power, it's a lot of defense that he has against Corey now.
You can also start playing the little game there with the Ravager of the Fells. You know, do I want to flip it? Do I not want to flip it? You know, start gaining 2, pumping out wolves, flipping back, all that stuff.
Sure.
But we're going to see, maybe Corey was playing a little coy here. We're going to see a Restoration Angel come into play.
Looks like he's going to immediately try to block that wolf. Let's see if Reed has something to do to stop it. Looks like he does not right now. Maybe he's holding on to a Tragic Slip? Not too sure, but Restoration Angel will take out the 2/2 wolf.
So we're going to see a follow-up here of Rakdos Key Rune.
Okay. Into a Ground Seal. And is the last card a Tragic Slip?
I do see a Tragic Slip in his hand.
What do you think you take out here? The Reckoner or the Restoration Angel?
I think the Reckoner is a bit the scarier card.
Yeah, right, yeah. I like that as well. Get the Reckoner off the table. Reckoner will more likely or not do more damage. So,
you know, if you're Reed right now, so you only see white-black mana in play. You also see a Vault of the Archangel. So, you know, the thing that you immediately think of if you're Reed is, you know, okay, there's a white deck with white-black lands and Boros Reckoner, maybe like some sort of hybrid form of the Aristocrats.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to get Blasphemous acted out of nowhere. You know, that would suck. So I'll just take care of that and just keep moving along here. It also allows him, by playing all those spells in one turn, flip the Ravager back into Huntmaster, get that wolf back, get 2 more life, get himself up to 16, keep stabilizing his life total while advancing his board.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? If this game goes the way that I think it will go, Corey will never even play a blue mana.
Okay.
And Reed might just win thinking that, yeah, Corey is probably just black-white or just some form of the Aristocrats, like you said.
Yeah, just like a bad Aristocrats draw.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, one thing we saw with the initial version of the Aristocrats that Tom Martell won with is they had 1 Restoration Angel in their main deck.
Okay.
So, you know, maybe Corey's thinking, maybe Reed's thinking, maybe Corey, you know, harkened back to an older form of the Aristocrats and he just has like a one of Miser's Restoration Angel in his deck. You know, there's a lot of things that can be going through Reed's mind right now. Yeah. I think the last of them is that Corey has blue mana in his deck for Supreme Verdict and Clone.
Exactly.
Which we know, but Reed, I can't imagine that he does right now.
Yeah, and his sideboard is interesting too. He actually has a sideboard Syncopate. Normally, out of a blue deck, you would see a sideboard Negate, sideboard Dispel.
Yep.
Never really Syncopate, so I wonder what the thought process is behind this.
So here's that second Boros Reckoner. That's finally going to hit play. Restoration Angel and the Spirit are going to come across. Reed's going to go down to 12. And we'll see if we're going to see a flashback on that Lingering Souls or not.
Yeah, I think you want to flashback that Lingering Souls for sure. You want to just increase your board presence as much as you could, especially now that Reed's board is definitely improving a lot. So yeah. Especially if Reed drops a Thragtusk. And just the threat of having 3 bonfires in Reed's deck is just really scary for Corey.
Yeah. I think he's just going to pass the turn back. So no
interesting.
Lingering Souls. Let's see what Reed draws. It's not a Bonfire of the Damned.
There's a chance maybe Corey's slightly confused with that Huntmaster because he did have to read it a couple times.
Okay.
So maybe he's afraid to play 2 spells, thinking
maybe it flips back.
Yeah, flips back. Not too sure what it does. So definitely understandable.
So now Reed is going to come out here with an Olivia Voldaren.
Yeah, Olivia's going to take over the game for sure. I think. You agree?
Yeah, I mean we've seen this before, right? With Jund, where this is the card that just really does just start to dominate a board state. As he's going to shoot down that Spirit Token. Olivia's going to move up to a 4/4 right now. Reed going to play a Tragic Slip. The Morbid is triggered because that Spirit Token died. There goes the Reckoner. Here comes the Wolf Token and the Huntmaster. Corey's going to get pushed down to 10 now.
Yeah, Reed was able to cast all that and shoot because of the key rune that's kind of off screen. You see the bottom of it, but that's the Rakdos key rune, which turns into a 3 on First Striker, which is good against Rakdos. That was the main reason why people used to play it back a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of funny where that card saw a healthy amount of play at the beginning builds of Jund, and then they kind of became a little more obsolete as people started to develop the deck a little bit more. You see Reed playing just one of these again, and again, as you said, part of the reason I did see plays because it was so good against Thragtusk, and you can see how it accelerates the deck pretty well. And it looks like one thing that Reed has done now, which he actually kind of trademarked around Approach of Montreal, is that there are no Arbor Elves anymore.
Yeah.
He has 4 Huntmasters, 3 Olivias, 4 Thragtusk, and 2 Sire's Insanities, but 0 Arbor Elves in his list, where the industry standard for a little while, because of Reed and Owen, was 2 copies of Arbor Elf.
Yeah, honestly, I never really agree with the Arbor Elves. Do you think he's playing the Rakdos key rune because of the Siren Insanity now? To kind of ramp into
Maybe
it?
ramp into that a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so only a flashback Lingering Souls for Corey last turn.
And representing Restoration Angel here with the 4 mana available.
I mean, do you think Reed cares?
I don't think he cares in the least. When you untap with an active Olivia Voldaren, there's not a lot you care about in life.
all you care about is not playing a second Olivia.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not making that mistake.
You're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And you see Olivia coming into the red zone right now, feeling pretty good about itself.
So right now Olivia is only a 4/4, but could get bigger and bigger as Reed chooses to.
And we'll bring Olivia up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see that vampire that is taking over the game. As you see, Huntmaster of the Fells is going to flip over into Ravager again. It's going to shoot that Restoration Angel for 2 points.
Okay, so Corey shows a Swamp. Again, no blue mana.
Yep.
And I kind of thought this might be the case. Maybe he's just not playing enough blue sources. He only really has 4 Hollow Fountains and 4 Glacial Fortresses.
So you only have 8 sources of blue mana?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
So
this is something that can probably end up happening to him a lot more than normal. I think this isn't rare to see.
Exactly. All right, so there's Olivia on the screen.
Yeah.
So just for 5 mana, Reed could take control of any vampire.
I mean, this card isn't new.
Yeah.
It's still good.
You know what card's a vampire?
Which one?
Duskmantle Seer is a vampire.
Actually, I didn't know that. I feel like I should have known that.
Yeah.
Have you had that taken over a time
I did.
or two?
It was actually against Reed. we were just playing for fun at the WMCQ, and he stole my Duskmantle Seer for 5 mana. Didn't have to shoot it at all.
This belongs to me now.
Yep.
And so we're going to see Olivia shoot Restoration Angel once, shoot it twice. That's going to go away, I think.
Yeah, because of the Huntmaster originally on the upkeep dealt 2 damage to the Angel and Corey.
Yep, and you see Reed pointing at the Huntmaster, the Ravager saying, I dealt 2 with that.
Exactly.
So Olivia's going to pump up a little bit here. Reed's going to untap. He's going to draw. That's got to be
it's a bonfire. I don't think Reed wants to show it to him.
I don't think he wants to show it to him either.
Especially, it looks like Corey's kind of unfamiliar with some of the cards.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't know Huntmaster, maybe he's not too sure about bonfire.
Yeah.
So definitely a good call by Reed. No point to give your opponent more information if you don't have to.
Alternatively, could be the bonfire bluff as well. I mean, we didn't get a good look at the card.
Yeah.
You know, it could be the bonfire bluff of, oh man, I could cast this, but I don't want to. I don't need to. Something like that. But either way, Reed Duke is going to be up a game here against Corey Coleman with Jund. And we'll take a look at Corey's sideboard first because he is going to be down a game.
We will.
What's he got to help him over there, Gerard?
Okay, so pretty much against Reed, he might want to bring in the Nevermores, just because he doesn't have much, to be honest.
Okay.
Pithing Needles, I mean, he didn't really see any Planeswalkers out of Reed. He did see Olivia.
Yep.
So he might think, hey, I want to stop Olivia. He doesn't want another Elite Inquisitor. I'm not sure when you would want another Elite Inquisitor, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Zombies isn't that big of a deck in the format, so I'm not sure when you would want additional one of those.
The extra Syncopate, I mean, he is going to be on the play. Maybe he'll want the extra Syncopate because he's on the play. Putrefy the Grave, no. And a couple more Supreme Verdicts, probably not. Maybe the Sorin. Sorin's historically pretty good against Jund.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. The issue with Sorin in this matchup really is like, it's okay. It's not great. It might just be a necessary evil. What I found, especially when I was testing the Aristocrats Act 2, is that, yes, you want to board Sorin against Jund, but you can't riot to victory because they have Bonfire at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You know, they have no problem dealing with the tokens. If you had access to, like, Intangible Virtue to go along with those tokens, a little bit more scary. But even then, I mean, Jund is very capable of just hard casting a Bonfire for 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And they have 4 Farseeks, all that mana, and the Rakdos Key Rune, so.
And Reed saw Lingering Souls out of Corey's deck.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to leave in his Bonfires.
Yeah, those Bonfires are not going anywhere.
Yeah, so honestly, he doesn't really have too much to bring in, and honestly, I would want to take out like the Vault of the Archangels, just because they're not doing too much for me. But we'll see what happens and see what Corey decides on.
I mean, you bring up Nevermore. Is there a card that you would want to name in general? I mean, if you're Corey, the thing that comes to your mind is like, okay, Reed played Olivia Voldaren, and I just died to it immediately.
Also, Huntmaster.
Yeah.
You know, it's Corey doesn't have any way to look at his opponent's hand. Doesn't have any like neat interaction like on Summon or Cyclonic Rift. So he's gonna have to kind of blind the Nevermore.
Okay.
I think maybe Corey's metagame, either at his local store or the friends he's playing with, is kind of more narrow.
Okay.
So, because what deck would you really want Nevermores against in this format?
Yeah, I mean, the only decks that you really want Nevermore against is probably, you know, your Supreme Verdict decks where you want to name that. That's a strategy that, you know, Sam Black employed with Green White Humans many moons ago, which is porting in Nevermore, naming Supreme Verdict, or Sphinx of Revelation and going from there. When you're playing against Jund, and you can look at the numbers here of Reed's spells, 2 of this, 2 of that, 1 of that, 1 of that, you know, as far as removal is concerned, and then his creatures, while they're all different and all unique, they're all very powerful. So, you know, if you name Huntmaster of the Fells, you can just lose to Olivia Voldaren, or vice versa.
Well, yeah, or a Thragtusk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to snipe and guess the right creature with Nevermore seems very, very hard to do.
Definitely. Maybe Corey's metagame is more something like a Human Reanimator, or is more combo oriented.
Sure.
Where Nevermore actually could have a big impact. You know, name Unburial Rights. So we'll see what happens. What about Reed? What is he going to bring in?
Reed side over here, 2 Pillar Flames, 2 Tragic Slips, 2 Vampire Nighthawk, 2 Liliana the Veil, 2 Vraska the Unseen to go along with 5 Singletons in Duress, Ground Seal, Mizium Mortars, Rakdos Return, and Deadbridge Chant, a card that we'll get to in a moment.
Sure.
I mean, Reed won that game pretty easily. Again, he didn't see a lot of cards from Corey. Tragic Slip definitely did a lot of work in that game because it took out both of the Reckoners. So I could see him maybe wanting the sideboard in a couple of those. You see the 2 Ground Seals in Reed's main deck. Those are pretty easy swaps. Additionally, Sire of Insanity, I don't think it would be great in this matchup based off of what we saw from Corey. So maybe he sideboards in, I don't know, Liliana the Veil, Vampire Nighthawk, Pillar of Flame, something like that. I don't think he really wants a ton of these one-ups here, maybe the Mizium Mortars. But as we do see both players looking at their opening hands, and Corey's going to take at least 1 mulligan.
Yeah, this is his first mulligan.
Deadbridge Chant, another card from Dragon's Maze, a card that people are writing about in the sideboard of Jund as basically the replacement to Staff of Nin moving forward.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Deadbridge Chant is worse than just having Underworld Connections. I think Underworld Connections will allow you to draw more cards, will have more impact on the game.
Okay.
Compared to Deadbridge Chant, where it's 6 mana, then it doesn't have any real immediate impact on the game, right? If you just play it and they kill it, that's it.
Sure.
Lots of times when you play Underworld Connections, you play it with 4 mana, so 3 mana, you put on that land, immediately draw a card. They don't kill it, you draw another card. Here, I think Deadbridge Chant is slightly worse than Underworld Connections.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
The interesting thing about all 3 of those cards in Deadbridge Chant, Staff of Nin, which looks like the card that it's replacing for Reed, and Underworld Connections, is with the influx of Acidic Slime in the format, it's kind of scary to play all 3 of those cards because they all die to it.
Exactly.
But with Underworld Connections, you could actually get maybe a card or 2 before that actually does happen with the Acidic Slime.
Yeah.
But either way, Corey is happy with his 6 cards. You're going to see a Farseek here from Reed on his second turn, and Corey does have an Elite Inquisitor in play. So we don't know if he board in the other one or not.
Yeah, we're not sure. It could be one of the ones in his main deck. Same thing, we see a Sorin in his hand. So it could be one of the 3 Sorins that he had in the main deck. Maybe he boarded into a 4th Sorin. We don't know. So
in this game, you actually see Gerard. Corey does have blue mana.
Yeah, he does,
down there. So.
And I think he's playing a Glacial Fortress too,
Yeah.
so I think Reed's probably a little surprised here.
Yeah, Reed's probably thinking, okay, I thought maybe it was just like a black-white deck, maybe a black-white token strategy game 1 with Boros Reckoner, but now he's got some blue mana, so now Reed has to kind of shift gears a little bit and think about maybe counter magic or Sphinx of Revelation, Supreme Verdict, what have you.
Yeah, Corey's hand looks to be Sorin and Supreme Verdict, and that's kind of the problem with playing aggressive creatures like Elite Inquisitor or Precinct Captain, or Boros Reckoner as well, and then playing Supreme Verdict. It's kind of a nombo.
Yeah. Counterintuitive, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to see a Vampire Nighthawk here from Reed coming to play. So he does have 2 of those to the sideboard, and it looks like he moved those in.
Yep. Now, I think what's going to happen here, I think Corey has to play Sorin and just make a token. So he'll be able to attack past that Vampire, because it's a Vampire, and play a Sorin and make a token. I think that's the best line right here. Looks like they're waiting for some dice, and that's what's going to happen.
So here's going to be your 1/1 Lifelinking Vampire token here. And as you said, Corey does have those Supreme Verdicts in his hand right now. I think he has 2 copies of it in his hand.
I believe so as well.
So can kind of, in a backwards sort of way, set Reed up a little bit here. Maybe it's, next turn Reed plays an Olivia, Corey pulls the trigger on the Supreme Verdict, ups the Sorin up to 5, and then, that's a real threat that Reed has to be concerned about then.
Of course. I think Corey has a second Sorin in his hand too.
Sure.
So I think he's saying a Sorin, Supreme Verdict, Supreme Verdict.
So there's a Rootbound Crack. Here's a Thragtusk. Reed going to move up to 23.
Yeah. And I think this might be a nice time for Corey to get a Emblem from Sorin.
Okay.
+1, +0 to all his guys. So his Elite Inquisitor can attack past the Thragtusk.
Okay.
And then he can just play a second Sorin.
Gotcha.
Do you think that line of play is reasonable here?
I think it's perfectly reasonable. I mean, being able to just one-up a Thragtusk on its own with the Emblem plus the Elite Inquisitor is actually pretty good right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Sorin starts at 3. He picked it up to 4, and they got attacked down to 2, and then for the ability, he'll have to sacrifice Sorin, which that's exactly what he does.
So here's your Emblem.
So
it's going to make Inquisitor a 3/2 first striker, and that Vampire is going to be a 2/1 lifelinker.
And I think playing a second Sorin after attacks is probably the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
Just attack for 3, play Sorin, and pump it up again. Let's see if Corey takes his line of play. And he's definitely thinking about it.
All right.
And that's the line he chooses.
So there comes the Inquisitor. in for 3. Reed, of course, going to take that damage, not going to throw away his Thragtusk here.
He moved that Supreme Verdict to the front of his hand.
did.
I would probably disagree with casting it right here, but we'll see what he decides to do.
All right.
And he does go for the Supreme Verdict.
So the verdict is in. Reed is going to get a Beast token here.
Yeah, that wasn't even really a favorable trade for Corey.
Yeah. I think, Reed is very happy with that because he's ahead of the board now.
Yeah, definitely. Him having a 5-3 that couldn't attack, or a 3-3 that could attack,
Yep.
he'll definitely want the 3-3 that could attack. Thragtusk couldn't really attack because of the 3-2 first striking Elite Inquisitor.
So now you're going to see Reed come across with a Beast token. Going to knock Corey down to 17 and follow up with another Thragtusk here. And he's going to move himself up to 25. And now Corey's in a whole lot of trouble as Reed plays an Overgrown Tomb, tap, and passes the turn because, his deck doesn't have a great way to stabilize past this. He does draw a Boros Reckoner for the turn, which isn't terrible, but, we can't see Reed's hand, but he's thumbing through at least 3 cards there, and
Probably a removal spell?
yeah, I mean, it's Jund, right? There's at least one removal spell over there.
And he didn't play a removal spell the whole game so far, and it's going on turn 6. So we'll see what Reed has.
So the Reckoner is here to try to stabilize the board. Reed untaps, he draws. It's not a Bonfire of the Damned, as he is going to think through his turn here. 4 mana being tapped. There's a Huntmaster that falls and a Wolf token to push Reed up to 27. A Blood Crypt and just passes the turn back. So Reckoner is actually going to stand tall here.
Yeah, and I think Corey's going to have to use his second Supreme Verdict. Well, there's a Lingering Souls. Maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe he could try to bait out more from Reed. Maybe one more creature.
All right.
Just one more. We'll see. I think though. You know what? I think Corey could just play Lingering Souls here. I think that's the line. Play Lingering Souls. Maybe play Sorin. I don't think he needs to use his Supreme Verdict yet. I think that's his only way he's going to possibly win this game.
Well, Boros Reckoner is coming across, so
probably,
that's got to be a verdict.
Yeah, it is a verdict.
So Verdict's going to clear up all this stuff. It's going to leave Reed with a Beast token.
But look, now Corey's kind of in the same spot that he was a couple of turns ago.
Yeah.
No board. Reed has a bunch of lands and a Beast token. And if you look at that Sorin Emblem token, not really doing too much of it.
Yeah.
I
think it was very good the turn that it was initially made.
Yeah.
It's just going to tap. Oh my goodness.
Wow. So there we see it for the first time on camera. Sire of Insanity.
And I thought he might sideboard that out. I was wrong, and it's looking pretty good right now. So there's the Sire of Insanity. Each player discarding their hands on Reed's end step. Flashback and Lingering Souls here. Corey just has to play off the top. And you take a look at his deck list, which you have in front of you, Gerard. This is not a deck that plays very well off the top.
Yeah, it does
at
not.
all.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much his best draw next turn is probably something like a Sublime Archangel to be able to attack.
Yeah.
At least Corey could double block the Sire.
Yep, because those are 2/1s.
Yeah, they're 2/1 flyers. So maybe if Reed blank, I just feel like Reed's gonna miracle a Bonfire or draw like a Wolf Run.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is like, you see Reed attacking with both the guys, but it's like Reed doesn't have to attack,
Yeah.
Like they can just keep playing off the top where Reed has this like better board position, but the Sire's gonna bite the dust, and here's just a Thragtusk to replace that. So
yeah.
I think things favor the Jund deck a lot when you're in this top decking battle because its draws are so powerful. And there's a Sublime Archangel.
I called it.
You called it,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
All right. So it would have been good if Reed didn't draw the Thragtusk, I would say.
Yep.
At least he could start dealing lots of damage. But now I think Corey's gonna have to try to just trade, either trade with the Thragtusk or trade with the Beast token, just to survive.
And Reed more than happy to come across with either one and let Corey make the decision here.
I think you have to block the Thragtusk and hope you draw another Supreme Verdict off the top.
Sure.
I mean, Corey has 2 Supreme Verdicts in his main deck. He has 2 more on the board. Maybe he boarded them in. We don't really know.
You do see the trade with the Thragtusk here, so Beast token coming in. We'll see if Reed has a follow-up play or not.
Another, powerful spell like the Thragtusk, a Garrett.
No, just a pass back.
All right, so probably just a land. Maybe a removal spell of some sort, like an Abrupt Decay that he couldn't use on the Sublime Archangel.
Corey drew a card. It looks like a spell. I just don't know which one it is.
I don't know what spell he wouldn't cast.
Could be Restoration Angel.
Ooh, maybe
What? No?
No, it's not.
I was almost positive it was a spell. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it kind of did look like a spell. Oh, it was an Arcane. Oh, wow.
Oh, it was a
okay.
vault, okay.
It was a vault, and
Okay,
now he
now
draws,
he draws Restoration
Wow, we're
Angel.
calling all the cards. I call the Sublime Archangel, you call the Restoration Angel.
The problem for Corey, of course, right now, however, is that life total.
Yeah, I mean, all Reed has to do is attack with both his guys.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's what Reed's going to do, and Corey just concedes. Was a good sport about it, shook Reed's hand, said good game.
So Reed Duke is going to win this match against Corey Coleman with Jund over Esper Agro, 2-0. Reed Duke off to a good start today.